can get out of here.
Oh, no, not picture of it.
That come with a gun rack over there, Chief?
No, we'll have to add that to it.
No, no, go ahead. I think she's ready.
Sweet. Already? Already?
See this sticking out of my briefcase.
Fall asleep. Make it rest.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, does it so we won't.
It's always something.
Do they have a vibrating option?
Killer here. Oh, perfect.
So it did.
Put in orders.
It's either on or off, that's it.
Should I get my knees down?
Stop the
Cup
rock.
this
Can we get some,
really
like,
comfy.
Lower it. Right.
Pillar protection or something underneath? Oh, but that is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done.
I will.
Kathy, who do we have to thank for these?
That's not cool.
Try to be.
I don't want to see that.
Nobody agree with me about
On some things. Know when you're ready. Yeah.
On record?
Call the October 23rd, 2017 Lincoln City Urban Renewal Agency meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Susan Walke? Here. Kip Ward?
Here.
Don Williams?
Here.
Dick Anderson?
Yes.
Riley Hoagland?
Here.
Deanna Hinton?
Here.
And Judy Casper? Here.
Next item on the agenda is comments from citizens present. Anyone wish to speak? All right, hearing none. Next item is minutes of the meeting of the Urban Renewal Agency on October 9th, 2017. I noticed a few minor things. The major thing was the signature line should be for me. Did you get my, I guess I didn't get an email sent. There were just a couple little things. And those were just typos.
Okay, I can, you can send it to me and I'll
Okay.
do make the changes.
Madam Chair, I'd move to approve the minutes of the October 9th, 2017 Urban Renewal meeting.
Second.
Madam Chair, I'd like to abstain. I was not present.
Thank you. Councilor Casper will abstain from voting. Do I hear, I have a motion and second to approve the minutes as revised. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. No presentations, no public hearings, no special order of business. Next item is resolutions. First one is the Lincoln City Urban Renewal Agency Resolution Number UR 2017-05. Ms. Robertson and Ms. Mamoni, do we have a presentation?
I was looking at her paperwork here. This resolution comes from, or was drafted by our financial advisors and bond counsel for authorizing the sale of the final bond for the Urban Renewal Agency for $2,975,000. One item that we just want to be really clear about and upfront is there's one bond outstanding with the Urban Renewal Agency, and it was actually issued by the city, and then there was an intergovernmental agreement that Urban Renewal received the proceeds and then it is making the bond payments. However, the city is on the hook for it should Urban default. This resolution will place the city's interest in a subordinate position to this new bond payment. And that was done to make the new bond more attractive to investors. But we just want to be clear and open about that in case there was any concerns. I don't know if there's any questions. Just a lot of legalese in there that I did not write.
Madam Chair? So being in a subordinate position, there, any protection whatsoever for us within that?
The protection, really, we do have a lot of protection, and it's the under levy option. We could, if the agency chose, change the amount of the under levy. If for some reason we were to fall short of funds, which we do not anticipate, we anticipate there will be very adequate funding. But if something should happen, one option would be, instead of having an 80% under levy, having an 80 or 79% or 75%. That would be one option that's available. I hadn't thought about too many different options because it's really quite secure funding.
Okay.
Just like to know
sometimes
what the
I ask these
options are.
a little bit, I like to ask these questions because people at home have
Sure.
these questions, and
Sure.
I think they appreciate having you express those. I'm pretty sure you've got it covered.
Well, you never know. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You really don't.
Thank you.
It's a good question.
Any other questions?
Madam Chair, and again, just to clarify, this is the last issuance of a bond. That this puts this urban renewal plan done as far as capped out as the 43 million that was original.
Yes, and the 43 million was established as the maximum by the city council, and this will put us at that. So this particular district will be done with its bonds.
Thank you.
Anyone else have questions? Okay. I had a few. On the declaration, bottom of page 1, the definition of agency official. It's left blank. What will be inserted there?
I believe to be consistent with the resolution, it would be the city manager.
And then on page 2, we don't have a bank yet, is that correct?
No, we sent out an RFP to several banks, and we have some responses back, but the official selection, I don't believe, has been made.
Okay.
Is it official? That I know of.
And how is that decision made, and when will we know?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's been a really, I was expecting auditors this morning, and they should show up. It's been a long week. One of the things we are requesting is that the city manager be authorized to act in behalf of the agency for selecting which of the proposals to go with based on the terms and conditions, and to do any other actions necessary to issue this bond.
Would that need to be a separate motion at some point?
I believe it's incorporated into the resolution, and I meant to point that one out as well, so thank you.
And then in section 12, prepayment provisions are not explained and also not in the note itself. Will that be determined by which bank we choose?
I believe that, yeah, that should be included in the proposals that we receive to them and could play a factor in which one is selected.
Okay. I just hate to approve things that with so many blanks.
Yes.
That was the end of my questions. Entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I'd move to approve Resolution UR 2017-05.
Second.
Motion is second to approve Lincoln City Urban Renewal Agency Resolution Number UR 2017-05. Roll call, please.
Hinton,
Yes.
Casper,
Yes.
Walke,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
and Hoagland.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the bid award for the Baywalk Schooner Point Highway 101 Turnout. Ms. Robertson?
Okay, so this is a bid award, as you mentioned, for the Baywalk Schooner Point Highway 101 Turnout Project to construct improvements to a gravel turnout along Highway 101 in Cutler City. And the work includes organized paved parking, a low-maintenance landscape tapered island to control access and improve safety. Also, it is a section of the Head to Bay Trail, so about 8.5-foot wide sidewalk, and some historic interpretive signage will be installed. We had 3 bids, and this is another one of our partnership projects where Urban Renewal has done the design and permitting, and then we are collaborating with Public Works on bidding, and then they will continue with the baton pass to do construction management. So we're very grateful for their support and help in implementing this project. Are there any questions on the bid or the resolution?
Questions from agency members? My only concern was that this was dated the 23rd of January, and I'd like it changed to October before I sign it.
Thank you. Yes, we made that change and have it in the hard copy.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'd make a motion to approve Resolution UR 217-07.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve Urban Renewal Resolution 2017-07. Roll call, please.
Casper? Yes. Walke?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Hoagland?
Yes.
And Hinton?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item is the contract award for the D-Lake utility undergrounding. Ms. Robertson?
Okay, this is also a construction contract award for undergrounding the overhead utilities through the D-Lake area. And it will be along the east and west sides of Highway 101 from Northwest 2nd Drive to Southwest Ebb Avenue, and include crossing beneath the D River. Are there any questions on this? I do have our city engineer here to help with engineering-related questions if you have any as well.
Ms. Hinton?
Thank you. In the background, on the second paragraph, it talks about lighting upgrades, to meet Pacific Power decorative standards with LED bulbs. Could those be more of the yellow version than the bluer version?
Yeah, so if you may remember, when we originally had this project designed, lighting upgrades were not included. And after staff talked, we decided that we should include it and then allow you the option of whether to do the lighting upgrades or not. And you can see that the project did come in lower than what we anticipated, which was great. And so the lighting, just to call out the separate cost, is $105,000 to do the lighting upgrade. In terms of the LED technology, I believe that those are up to current standards and that they're very balanced in terms of whether they're hot or cold. More on the warm or neutral side.
I do not know if you can get LED lights that are warmer or more of the yellow tint. We can certainly look into that. We thought LEDs were more sustainable just in terms of cost, but if we can look at the colorizing of them and what that actual light color will be and get back to you on that.
Thank you.
Madam Chair? if that's
Yes,
okay.
Mr. Williams?
Yeah, and I don't know anything about light color, so I would just say I'd like to see before you make any
Okay.
changes.
Yeah.
And if I may question, I'm seeing here about taking out split rail fence and replacing it for $2,500. I'm assuming it's that little chunk there where the kiosk used to be, and do we really even want it back?
Oh, okay.
You know, I'd say ask Ron if that's part of the plan for upgrades or not. And,
For the fencing?
yeah, it just says remove and reinstall split rail fencing.
Yeah, that was the
Since
intent, to
we're
reinstall
going-
what's there.
Yeah, but since we're talking about changing, if we can save $2,500, let's save $2,500.
Sure, we'll look
I'd
at
just say
that.
ask Ron if that's part of the plan or not.
Yeah, we could easily take that out.
You don't have to take it out, just ask him if that's what he wants.
Well, yeah, we'll.
If we're going in a different direction anyway, just send it down to the beach and let them burn it. Well, they're going to burn stuff anyway. Might as well give them
Ms.
some wood.
Casper?
I have a question, too. I'm not a lighting expert, but I know we're using the same poles, and you're talking about the LED bulbs. And just on my street, I know we used, down in Nelscott, we used the same poles, but there was a light head that deflected the light. Is that possible, or do we still have to use the ambient?
Yeah, they will be up to standards with making sure the light goes downward.
Okay.
The lights that are up near the 33rd pedestrian crossing in the north end of town near, what is that, Starbucks, OSU Credit Union, and the convenience store across the street, those are the light poles, I believe, that were envisioned for this. So.
Okay, great.
Any other questions?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Anderson?
I think in your presentation, you talked about crossing the river, but this is a boring,
Yes.
correct? So this will be, and I'm happy to see K&E, because we know them and their boring capabilities, so nice to see. Thank you.
My questions were, K&E does have experience with boring.
Yes.
And my other question was about the line relocations. Are those paid by urban renewal funds or by the utilities?
Do you mean the reconnection to the private properties, or?
This is on the second page of the memo.
Yes, those are going to be urban renewal costs.
Okay. So the construction bid is $1,656,066, but the total to complete the project is almost $2.5 million, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, I'd make motion to approve resolution UR 2017-6.
Second?
Then a motion and a second to approve resolution UR 2017-06. Is this the same as the construction award in the memo? Usually when we
Yeah,
are.
so the reason why this is a contract or construction award is because we did an RFP process rather than a traditional bid award process, so the language is a little bit different in this case, but it's effectively the same.
So we do a resolution rather than just a bid award?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Motion and a second to approve resolution 2017-06. Roll call, please.
If we could just have a quick discussion.
Oh, discussion, excuse me.
Madam Chair. I want to be consistent with folks. I'm still not entirely in favor of this whole process, but I will support it. Council did vote it through and have their reasons, and so I will be voting yes on these. Thank you.
All right, roll call, please.
Walke?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Hoagland?
Yes.
Hinton?
Yes.
And Casper? Yes. Motion carried.
Thank you. 3 unanimous votes today. Next item on the agenda is actions, if any, based on executive session, work session, and Urban Renewal Agency did not have an executive session or work session recently. Agency member comments. Any comment?
Madam Chair, if I
Yes,
might.
Mr. Williams.
Again, I wasn't a big fan of this expense at this time, but as I watched the events unfold in Puerto Rico, and there was a big emphasis on the fact that all their lines are above ground, I didn't really hear a discussion about beyond the benefits of them being blown down. I'm wondering if there's a way we could bring someone in to explain the benefits of a city doing it citywide at some point, or just make it clear to me why that's a good thing other than just aesthetics. I would love to hear from some experts as to, is this the best way for us to go? And I would be in support of those kind of things if it proves to be so. Just a thought.
If I may, I remember saying, it was said that it was purely aesthetics, that's reasoning. Purely aesthetics. There was no functional difference between it, right?
So during budget season, we had asked Pacific Power if they had any particular leaning in one direction or the other, and they said they do not. They did provide information. I don't have it in front of me, but I could get it to the city manager to send to you all. But there are more complicating factors about the area of undergrounding than there are simply about, well, there's 1,000 feet undergrounded here, and there's 1,000 feet above ground here, and so comparing apples to apples is really difficult. But I do know that Pacific Power in general does not prefer undergrounding over overhead in general. It's just too hard based on each area to make a claim about what is better or worse.
So no, I'm not sure if I may continue. So there's no benefit to the physical, the wires themselves, the cabling. There's no benefit to. I've even read a report where it attracts lightning. That may just be some internet wackiness, but that's the kind of questions I have. And if it can go beyond just aesthetics, I'd be like Puerto Rico. They were not built to withstand that, and they're paying the price. We don't seem to have too many problems like that, but we've had a few like this last rain period. I just would like some more info.
Yeah,
I guess I could do it on my own too, I suppose.
You're right. We would make a lot of assumptions about power not going out as often or in flooding. How hard is it to repair something that's underwater? And
Right.
We understand environmental factors, how things happen on the coast. But in general, I think if you were to ask Pacific Power, and we have, they don't seem to make a hard case about being pro or con on undergrounding, and that most of the reasons why undergrounding is done is for aesthetics.
Okay.
So,
Thanks.
Madam Chair, I think good questions and the desire to hear. I might point out that probably in your and my lifetime, we're not going to have the opportunity to underground any more wires in town. I mean, this is the last of the urban renewal plan that covered 101, and based on the cost, unless we do another urban renewal district, for a specific area and include undergrounding, it's not going to happen. And as we've already had discussions of the next area, I don't recall those even coming up. So I guess all I'm begging off is feel free to do your research. But again, one of those things I'm trying to, do we really need to have a work session or information on a topic we're not going to see, quite frankly, again, here, for 101. Reminder that our planning requires all new subdivisions to have it underground. So unless you're looking at changing that and saying, go ahead and put poles up, that would be a good time to have the discussion. I'm just, we have a lot of topics that we want to keep exploring, and I'm just suggesting that, the likelihood of us doing something on 101 in our time frame to even remember what is said is pretty slim. So
Well, if at some point, maybe you could just point me to somebody and I'll.
Sure, absolutely.
great.
And I can forward you the information that
That'd be
I've
great.
already received from Pacific Power, so you
I
can
would
read.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
Any other comments?
I would. I hate leaving on that note because, it almost sounds like there's no value in aesthetics. And, I'd hate to not make a push for the value of aesthetics. And a story of, again, I had the opportunity this weekend to review some photos taken last summer on a trip in Europe, and I'm amazed again at the lack of wires in villages that are certainly a lot older than Lincoln City, and they've taken the initiative to underground their wires, and boy, it sure makes a community stand out, and especially where we seem to have in other roles design standard issues. Certainly, the value of a lack of wires, I think, is very large, and would encourage a continuation of keeping wires underground.
Comments?
Oh, well, speaking of wires, just a little background. We went through this in our neighborhood in El Scott. We wanted to do wiring underground, and it wasn't part of the master plan. So we took it upon ourselves to try to form an LID. And we voted not once but twice. We tried to jiggle it around. And it finally came out, we were like 2 votes positive to put underground. And at that time, the city council said that wasn't large enough majority. And what happened in the shakeout was it made neighbors not as friendly as we once were, because we couldn't all agree upon creating an LID for this purpose. So just bear in mind, that's a little background. It does happen in reality.
I think that undergrounding for aesthetics is one of the reasons urban renewal districts are formed, is to make things look better. So I'm very supportive of this D-Lake undergrounding, and I'm glad we're going to follow through and get it done. Any other comments? Meeting adjourned.
30 minutes to go.
30 minutes.
I do.